line. Hey, the radio, pit crew is far from slow. The lights no longer yellow. Ready, steady, go. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 In love with the ride. Burning rubber smells real nice. Fuel it up once or twice. Come on, fast is the way to drive. Crowds all on their feet, not one bothered by the heat. Imagine them in the driver's seat. Checkered flag would be sweet. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 Everybody get ready. On your feet. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Crank it up. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 Crank it up.
They may be without a name, but they are still on the verge and on the hunger trail, looking to find their way and find a champion to be crowned here on PTM Racing TV. Hi everyone, I am the Crusader Christian Schreiber, joining you guys here today under the bright skies of Joliet, Illinois, as we're about to see our boys down for the No Name Racing League go at it here, and this hard action race down Chicagoland Speedway. It's time to get down to business here on PTM Racing TV. On the start of this one, it'll be the 21 of Rob Lowell. Your number 1 seed is outside Johnny Barker, and that number 6. Run number 2 is going to be Gene Cato there in the number 8. Well, his outside, that will be Mike Killenbeck there in the number 70. Run number 3 is going to be David Lamaga in the 34. The reigning defending champion is outside Greg Drace in the 64. Row number 7 here, that will be piloted, or row number 4, excuse me, pilots up into the 7th spot by Jeff Barefoot in the 99s, outside John Lamaga in the 71. Eli Prost will be in the 46, outside Lee 11 of Wayne Dewey. And in the 11th spot, your final starter, it's Gary Wright in the number 90. Coming down to the end here and onto the green flag start. We're underway. Green flag's out. Let's go racing here at Chicagoland. Pour on the momentum, pour on the speeds, and let these drivers reel these things on by here. We'll get them started for the first of the 100-lap race. Two other main events coming your way today here on PTM Racing TV, as we'll see the finale of Pedal the Metal Racing League season with the Xfinity Series, and then a little dash for cash down at Talladega Land, where we'll see the boys from the Spartan Logistics Management LLC iRacing IROC Challenge Series have a little bit of a showcase for themselves, as well as many other drivers involved. Should be a good show there. We'll see how it all plays out when the time comes. As we start this one off, though, right out of the gate here, drivers are already getting lined up in position here for a little bit of a hot start. Trying to find the line, trying to find their opening here when they can. still kind of stretched around, scattering all around the track here, kind of finding their little line, their little opening. Rob Lowell in that 21 definitely seems to be a little bit more conservative than usually you would see. Kind of relaxed, a little bit more on the nose, on the gun, trying to find his angle, trying to find his run. Lowell's usually one of those guys here that kind of likes to play a little bit easy, kind of a little bit more less rocky roadish, and a little more solid and stabilized. Seems to be kind of his game plan here for the start of this one as he continues to fire them on down. And I guess we had a little update too on our little newscast here, our little network device here for the name tag there. So we'll have to fix that up when we get to it. Didn't even realize that was changed there. Guess different things come in different flavors, different shapes around here, and that certainly was one of them. Gene Cato in the number 8 right now, trying to get up there with Rob Lowell in the 21 as Lowell falls back even further with David Lamaga now moving up the chains and moving up to the fight zone. His family member John Lamaga in the 71 here, kind of holding up the rear side of things with the Ford Mustang camp, trying to get something going on that 99. And Jeff Barefoot. Now Barefoot, he's one of those guys here, you kind of watch him go around in these tracks here. He kind of has that mentality to kind of stay a little bit more under control, a little bit more on the nose of things. He doesn't really like to try to whoop and holler, kind of get things a little too all over the place. He's more under the balance line, if you will. A little bit more relaxed, I would say, and that's kind of what he's thinking here, and kind of what he's feeling out on the track. Not a guy usually that likes to put all the eggs in the bread basket. Usually a guy that kind of likes to stable himself, really make his runs a little bit more clear cut and more coated. And he's been more of that sweet and smooth kind of run zone, I would say, compared to some of these other drivers you see out on the track here from time to time. Gene Cato right now backed off the throttle, backed off the run as Rob Lowell tries to get something going here around his end. Mike Gellenbeck in number 70 right now, keeping his tag, keeping his nose up, and keeping his speed in high gear. Remember, this is kind of a drafter's track, if you will, but it's also kind of a track that's going to make things a little bit more difficult because of these next-gen counterparts here. And you can see just how difficult it is as you get slightly loose just off those corners. Gene Cato getting the worst end of it in the number 8, and it looks like already drivers are having some troubles figuring out the right line, the right time, the right shot. That seems to be kind of a mishandling situation there. I don't know, but maybe that is something to do with the cars themselves, or maybe that has something to do with the overall package that they're running today. Remember, it is a 670 horsepower package, and those tires have been known to really make things a lot more difficult, a little bit more tricky to kind of run around here and kind of race the field in with. Slow and steady, I would normally say, does not win the race here all the time, but on a track like this anyway, but it might be a bit of a different story today. It looks like if you stay kind of close to the guard, keep your cards close to your chest, I think you might have a better chance to win it out here than most guys usually would. Johnny Barker on that number 6, though, still your race leader for 12 straight laps. He's led most laps so far of the day. But how long will that be able to kind of stick forward and stay true to his word? That's going to be easier said than done to know. I must say, though, for overall technicality and overall control, he's held off David Lamaga for a few laps here. Lamaga hasn't exactly gripped him up that well throughout the course of this race. Seems like he's had some problems down there, really staying focused on line, staying on target with where he wants to go with this. Jeff Barefoot getting a little bit more of a runoff on John Lomaga here. He's getting a bit further and further ahead as he continues to drive it hard, driving through the track zone here. Kind of staying true to word to his game. He's trying to stay true word to his game plan here. Knowing what he brings to the table. Rob Lowell in that G-Stone Motors number 21 looking to now getting right up there on the number 70 of Mike Killenbeck here as you see him march the charge and march the field in. The No Name Racing League here still just kind of finishing out the last of their season. Just a couple more races left in store and left out on the track here for these guys to work on and really to figure out. Killenbeck now has been narrowed down by the 21. Now it is time for Rob Lowell to start making the hammer drop on these cars and drop down on this field. But you can see as he ties it in a little bit lower off of turn number 2. I thought that might actually slow him down a little bit because generally speaking, when you're running here at Chicagoland, you want to try to drive it up a little higher there to build the speed back up and build the run up from that exit. But that was a little bit slower. Actually going up to the outside, I think, than it was going to the outside, and I think he knew it. Pretty clever strategy there, to say the least, as now we've got the battle up for the race lead. The 6 of Johnny Barker and the 34 of David Lomaga now about to commence and about to take center stage and center shape here. David Lomaga, man, is one of the top guys. Really, you just cannot get enough of it. Really cannot find a way to really knock off his totem for his top spots here time and time again. And it seems like he's just out to do that wherever he races, wherever he goes, with seemingly no issues or no flare-ups whatsoever on his side of the things. It seems like he's always on the right side of the coin. It seems like he's always just heavy on the nose and heavy on the verge of taking positions from anybody out there. And speaking of taking the positions over here, a little bit of a runoff on the outside between the 21 and the 70 here. Killenbeck forcing that 21 to the up high end zone of the higher bankings of Chicagoland and ends up making him stay back there just a little bit. Lowell has to now kind of commence. Trying to answer back though. He's not going to give it up that easily here. Oh, but I don't think the car is going to answer very well there. That one was a little too tight even for his own good. And that front end just completely nosedive, dripped into the wall there. Got a huge piece of it, unfortunately. And now the speed and momentum is long gone, left behind, left in a far wasteland here. More than I think Chicagoland is left alone these days. For those that don't know, unfortunately, here in real life, Chicagoland Speedway has been kind of left dormant in the racing world here, in the motorsports world, and a lot of it has now actually, I believe, just kind of turned into more of a kind of a car facility or kind of a place just to kind of park things and left behind like they do in Kentucky right now. It is very sad that that is what it all has now become and what it's boiled down to, but there's really not a whole lot you can do when this track will not host cup races, Xfinity, or truck races at all. And a lot of it also has to do with kind of the fact that COVID kind of ruined that for us. But I will say this, you know, the way it sounds, there may be a little slight glimmer of hope, slight little chance at reality, and a little bit of a chance at something bigger down the road. We do not know for sure, and we do not know the full answers to that, but I believe in due time we'll get some answers, or we'll get something figured out. Coming up through the ranks right now, the number 6 and the 46 of Eli Raposa, and we're going to have to deal with the race leader here, Johnny Barker. Barker's first test here, figuring out how to pass up the 46. Eli gets out of the way there, lets him be on by, lets him race his race out. Eli, I don't think it's going to be one of those guys you really have to worry about having to fight with around getting passing him by. I think really the main thing with him is just making sure you don't really put him in trouble or put him into any bad circumstances here. And I think he too will be the best of friends there, is the way I think he looks at it. Jeff Barefoot right now, though, still holding down the line, still holding down the charge here, to say the least, as he continues to wheel in, deal the laps and the speeds around this track here. As you get a good look at what our lap times are showing here. Again, I do not know why we had our overlay systems move this up there. I don't know what's going on there or why it is there, but let's see if maybe we can get that fixed up in due time. But this may be the new look we have to deal with here, guys, so I do apologize if that is the case. But as you see there, Lomaga was gaining some big ground on Barefoot. Barefoot knew he had some company coming up his way. Johnny Barker, man, well, I'm kind of surprised right now, honestly, by this number 6 driver, man. Talk about 25 laps in, he's got a pretty sizable lead on John Lomaga here. John and David Lomaga, excuse me, here. David, the one that is battling for the lead here, or if you consider that, he's really far behind here compared to what usually you would see out of that camp and what he would out of that driver. I don't know if there's something wrong inside the tires, or maybe he just overdid it, kind of getting up to him, but Barker is really holding down the charge and holding down the field here, to say the least. Yeah, and I kind of got a question here as well. You know, was these next gens actually going to be able to live up to the reputation that the Gen 6s, the Gen 5s, or even those Car of Tomorrow, and even then some, were able to run? I mean, if you ask me, my biggest gripe here, and really the biggest thing I was kind of wondering, was would they be able to actually stay closer in packs compared now they don't have the 550 horsepower package? Well, right now, anyway, that seems to not be the case. It seems like they spread them out a little bit more, and it becomes more of a race, more of a racy end kind of a deal. And Cato sneaking his way around that 34, David Lomaga, taking position over from him. Looks like Cato might have a little bit more speed than we realized here. He just keeps kind of getting backed off, kind of loses a lot more speed, loses a lot more run than I would have expected from the number 34, and it's just kind of a surreal moment, if you will. Rob Lowe heading into pit road here. His tires and fuel need a little bit of a resurgence, need a little bit more of a pit stop there, so he had to go in and get that taken care of. You can see the 99 Feared Up machine has a little bit of damage up on that right side there, unfortunately. That's the same spot we saw earlier on where Lowell actually clipped the wall off of turn number 2, damaged up that front end, and actually got himself a little bit more problems than I think he was really hoping for. Looking at our times right now here. Here's how everything is looking right now between the drivers here, and Lomaga and Cato definitely separated out by a big margin, by a bit error here. Bit of a surprise here, to say the least. Nearing halfway point already here, and things have been pretty much kind of sort of standstill for any of these guys out here that did not get off the line as quick as the other here. Wayne doing the number 11 here, passed on by here as the Circuit City number 8 comes around here. The Chevrolet is starting to take full control here as the Fords trying to find some speed, trying to find some momentum here to hang with the top 3. And really the only other one that's not a Chevy or a Ford is, of course, that Toyota and the Camry of Johnny Barker and his Rowdy Energy Machine. Continues to just be rock solid and purely dominating this one from the get-go. Yeah, if you're Johnny Barker too, really something maybe to just kind of think about here. But if you're Johnny Barker, you're literally seeing guys go into pit road right now. You're really staying out there as long as you can, keeping up the speed, keeping up the time zone. But you got a guy like Gene Cato now actually starting to make some ground on you, make some coverage back at you. Is there a certain time and place where you think maybe you might want to start having to think about going into pit road, or do you try to just last out as long as you need to? Because right now Barker is slowing down tremendously here. I don't know if he has ran out of fuel or what has gone down, but the 6 has lost a lot of speed as Gene Cato sneaks his way around here, takes over position. He has now the race lead. Barker goes into pit road. David Lamaga and Mike Killenbeck now fall back in line, now fall back into the top 3 here, so they will be in the front runner here, the showing of them. Looking to see what they can bring to the table here, see maybe they can have a little bit more to their end credit, more of their end speeds. Killenbeck though, the number 70 Valvoline Ford Mustang here, still in a bit of a standstill, in a bit of a hard charge in a moment or two, but the Valvoline 70, it looks like he might have to admit defeat himself. Have to end up into pit road. Gene Cato already in pit road now too, so it looks like he'll have to deal with the added pressure here of Johnny Barker getting back out of the track about a lap before he does, but he did go in a lap ahead of him, so that could be a bit of an obstacle here, to say the least, if he can find a way to hold him back and hold that charge down. That's kind of where really I'm seeing this change. That's where I come seeing everything kind of change up, flip around on every single one of these drivers, and makes things a little bit more interesting here. Caution lap is now kind of come on down. We're going to go ahead and throw the caution. Stage caution is out for the drivers. And Rob Lowell actually playing to the advantage here of really the driver's expenses. Saw what was on the line here and really stayed out as long as he had to, and then went back in when he needed to. And David Lamaga, Johnny Barker, each playing their hands well and playing their cards just right. So this will get everyone squared back up into play. They'll put everyone back into position here. And right now, if I'm Johnny Barker, I'm thinking right now, I've literally just let out most of this race here and actually outclassed the #1 seed in Rob Lowell until that stage break. So now it just kind of becomes more of a timing strategy here, kind of a pacing, because again, you've seen when most drivers went into pit road, most of them had entered in at about lap 37, lap 36-ish, so you only get about that much amount of fuel and that much amount of laps on your car. My humble opinion, that makes things much more difficult to bear in speed and bear in the run. You're going to have to kind of be a little bit more sophisticated, a little bit more under control if you want to secure and win this race. Gene Gator right now, the man that had the most speed, the most run on the final laps compared to Johnny Barker there, will be the man that takes the race lead over, with Jeff Barefoot right behind him here, as Wayne Dewey will decide to enter into pit road a little later than maybe the other guys were thinking. Jeff Barefoot looking like right now maybe he has at least a top 5 car in play and on the run. He held up well with Mike Killenbeck, John Lamaga, and even David Lamaga's times. Rob Lowell, Johnny Barker, Decatur-wise, he was more along the lines of their kind of overall deal, which was to last out as long as he could. But I don't know. It could be anybody's guess here on really how that strengthens and how that strives to be. One thing is for sure, though, these guys are not letting off on these lead foots, and they're not letting off on any of these cars here if they can. Greg Jason, 64, getting it back out there now. Looks like he'll have a fresh, cleaned up car, a little bit more of a runoff here to use. Well, double filing back up here to the restart zone. Drivers preparing up for this one. Gene Gato, the man that's going to set everyone in motion here. Again, Rob Lowell, though, went into pit road with everyone behind him, and Barker, Lomaga, Killingbeck, Drace, Raposa, and all them as well. So Barefoot and Gato are kind of the odd mans out here when it comes to having a little bit more fuel and a little bit more tire strategy underneath their hoods. But again, as long as they stay green, I think Cato's strategy may be at least good enough for a top 3 here. We'll have to see. The Circuit City is going to have a lot to prove here as they get ready to line it back down that stretch, down that road playing field. Here we go off the start. Awaiting the arrival of our green flag here. The green flag is back on now. We're back underway. And Barefoot getting pretty much right out of the way almost immediately, knowing he did not have anything for these guys. He's just trying to plan his own little strategy up, maybe see if it'll work with how many laps they have left to go. It's a very bold strategy. How wise is it? Who knows, but we'll have to see here. Only the man in charge in that car knows, and that's exactly what he's trying to aim towards, what he's going for right now. Johnny Barker here, almost clipping up that wall there, entering in through turn number 1 there. He has to get pretty wide up there to actually get a good shot, slingshot pass on that bottom lane, that bottom rung. As you can see, he's not going to play any, little hooky or anything like that and try to stick around for a while. No, he's going to try to go out it and get out into the race lead immediately here. But probably a little bit of a bobble there, kind of flying off right off of that turn. Really kind of hurt his momentum and kind of hurt his chances there. G-Stone Motors onboard camera here. As you see, Johnny Barker still trying to find some speed, trying to find a little bit of leg up here, up on from the 21 over that 6. Gene Cato still holding the line down, though, has the race lead, but for how long? Because here comes Rob Lowe on the bottom lane. Nearly halfway done with this one. Cato driving way up top side, not a very good place to be. Gets thrown into the marbles up there. Gets out of the way though, doesn't want anything to deal with the other drivers and wants to stabilize his own run, his own speed. Wayne Dewey though, a little bit of problems down there off turn number 2, goes into the grassy plains, into the lawn care service, and business he goes, opens up on his own lawn care service. Wow, a little bit of a swinger right off of turn number 2 there. We'll take a look at the PTM Instant replay and see what happened here. Might have just drove it up a little too high, then a little too low. You can see he's already loose coming off that end. Once he got into the binders though off turn number 2, you can see he was just ready to hit for the grass. He backs the throttle off and gets out of the way just in time to not affect anyone's race run here. But unfortunately, it did definitely affect his race. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Serena had to get that kind of cleared out of there. Now approaching halfway marker as we are just one step ahead and one step behind it. David Lamaga and Gene Cato right now in a bit of a war of words here, side by side, entering through the turns here. They are still at each other's game plan here. Whoa, a little trouble though for Cato. Lost it right off of turn number 4. Car swings straight left on him. Nearly gets that 34 David Lamaga. Great save though by the 8 of Cato to back off, but now that strategy he had earlier on may have just went out the window. Whatever he was planning, it is now completely nullified and done. Knows that will not work well for him and knows that will not play out the way he was hoping for. That is a huge mistake there by the number 8, as Greg Drace was trying to make a little bit of a runoff here, and no, he did not see the overlay way through right in front of his face there, and that was definitely not it. That's just a bit of a wild get-go there, a little bit of a wild scenario popping up here. And speaking of wild scenarios, let's take a look at this one here popping up for Johnny Barker and Rob Lowe here. This was the move that took the race lead away, and really what could be best described as a hard chargers kind of moment here for the number 6. See, Lowe just drove it up a little too high there, got closer to the wall protection. And watch this start losing some speed with these 670 horsepower package cars. Again, that speed is completely ruining your run and ruining your momentum up to where someone can just kind of sneak on by you. And that's the old slingshot pass. Find some clean air and run that dirty air right behind them and make sure they cannot stabilize it as fast as you can. And that's exactly what the number 6 did there. That was for the race lead here, and he is now holding on to the lead. Gene Cato, Mike Killenbeck here now. Battle for fourth here. Killenbeck looking to try to hold off that speed and that run that the 8 of Cato wants to try to throw at him here. I think he's kind of well aware and well diverse in his methods and his strategy here, knowing what he was trying to do earlier on. I think the biggest thing that's going to kind of separate out Killenbeck versus what Cato was doing, which is Rich Freeman holding the line down, if you will. Kind of the same area, just a different set of turns here, is where Killenbeck got loose off into the distance here and lost all his speed. Now having the added pressure and the added struggles of what now lies ahead here with Mike Killenbeck. Cato is starting to move further and further ahead. Went from about a half a second to about a 7/10 of a second plus. About 3/4 of a second up ahead of Killenbeck. Cato needs to keep the momentum and put that and keep his foot on the gas pedal and make sure that they can't even breathe. Rob Lowell, 21 Ford Mustang GT here, the last of the Mustangs beside David Lamont, to actually kind of have a bit of a chance, have a bit of a fight out here with that Toyota or with that Chevy, the one of each that have been coming out here. Johnny Barker right now currently just laying and hit and trying to stabilize anything he can. Knows the last will continue to strive up. He knows positions will get much more difficult to work with. Looks like Barker might be giving up a little bit entering into those turns here compared to what Lowell was doing here, but Lowell looks like he's kind of stabilized a little bit more on the refresher side of things. How well that will last him, how long it can go, it is really a question that only he can decide here. Looking at the back of the pack though here, that 71 John Lamaga is currently still staying in there and hanging in down. The 70 of Mike Killenbeck here, still holding his chances, holding his ground and clear zone here. He's just trying to get back up there with Gene Cato, but Cato still will not let him off on the hook. He's looking for any kind of speed, any kind of run he can, trying to see if there's anything left he could really throw down on the table with only 40 laps left to go. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, tonight coming up next up on our roster and on our showcase, we'll have the definitive season finale here for Battle of the Metal Racing League. The Xfinity Series will be online here on Facebook. So be sure to check over there by hitting our like and follow button there. Hit our subscribe button here on YouTube so you guys never miss any of our shows or any of our races, whether it be from the live format or if it's even just from our races we show live on the Facebook side of things. All broadcasts will be posted up on Facebook and YouTube to see and view for your viewing pleasure. Also tonight here, of course, Dash for Cash, 50 laps, Talladega. Put the cars on the track, let the drivers race it out for it. Who wants it more? Who beats me? You find out myself. David Lamaga right now trying to find some kind of openings, trying to find some kind of speed to really hit up with. As I stand with Ukraine, number 34, that's on the car, not my words, thank you. Literally trying to build up a speed on the back straightaway here, still get some momentum going up there to Rob Lowell on the 21. For the record here as well, folks, I am saying that because I'm not going to go into that political debate with any of that stuff. What I think is happening with Ukraine, if you want my thoughts, is wrong and just completely crazy to say the least. So my heart, my thoughts, my prayers go to those folks, to the innocent lives and all those that were affected by Ukrainians, and as well that's going down there. So my heart and prayers out to them. But as far as I will go in this political warfare, you guys can dish out anywhere else, but not in our comment section, just for the record. So. Still holding down our charges, still holding down our fields here. Mike Killenbeck trying to get up there with Gene Cato in the number 8. Killenbeck is still a bit about a half second away here from Cato, and he actually got a lot of that speed back on him throughout this race, throughout this time period here. Been a bit of a time lapse here, to say the least, for some of these guys, and of course with the points race up for grabs, I think it makes it that much more difficult, that more prestigious to really find some openings and find some chances here to really stick with this. Man, Mike Killenbeck, talk about just continuing to put and mount the pressure on that number 8 of Gene Cato here. He's not giving out. He's not going to give up. Greg Drake's about a 3.5 second lead over John Lamaga in the number 6 spot here. Currently 6 and 7, pretty separated out by a distance or two. It's good to see Drace though really kind of keep this car in one piece, keep himself out of problems, out of trouble here. Considering everything he's been through here in that Toyota Camry 64, he's always had some bad luck on the track or something just didn't quite go his way. It's good to see tonight's actually kind of staying more out of trouble for him and his team. And speaking of being out of trouble for him and his team, looks like Rob Lowell decided he wants to put himself back into the fray, back into the fight here. Wasn't even expecting this. A hard charge from the 21 of Rob Lowell. The G-Stone Motors now moves it straight to the bottom lane. This is your battle for the race lead. Owen Barker clips in the wall there entering turn 3. The same issue that Lowell had earlier on. Barker, though, manages to stay in the gas pedal. Oh, a little bit loose coming up forward, but he manages somehow to still sneak his way right by him. Now it's a real battle here between these two. Laps closing down. Positions starting to come fewer and fewer from mishandles here. Look at the 21 just completely dominate on the outside. Handling with great speed, precision, and control. Barker lost the speed there, entering down the back straightaway. Might have been because of the draft there. Looks like the dirty air might be a little too much here for that 6, especially with the aerodynamics. Maybe a little bit hurt from the car itself. He did take a little scrape there on that right side here, and it really seems to have hurt him more than I think he realizes. But does Rob Lowell know how many laps he has left to go before he needs to start really aiming towards that pit box? He's being very conservative here, being very cautious, but the biggest thing right now is that he knows he cannot make any more mistakes. He's going to have to be very, very careful. The car seems almost kind of temperamental though now compared to what we saw earlier, where he was a little bit more relaxed, more focused. I'm not sure if Barker's struggling a little bit to stay up there with Lowell or what is going on, but it looks like both guys are going to head into pit road at the same exact time here. Rob Lowell goes in, so does Johnny Barker. David Lamaga will stay on out. Looks like he's got a strategy in mind. He does not have enough fuel for a reminder out there, folks. So much precision and control right now between everyone that is looking for the speeds, looking for the control and garner some attention here. Rob Lowell, Johnny Barker, Greg Joyce, Wayne Dewey all went at pit road at the same time precisely here. So now they will have kind of the rung to step up to and kind of the rung to have to go higher up and pitch with. But with that said, right now David LaMonga, Mike Killenbeck, John LaMonga, Jeff Barefoot, Eli Raposa have all yet to enter in pit road. So with that speed and that runoff here, that might be enough to get them just enough into victory lane here if they really wanted to go that way. Whoa, and a little bit of a problem down there. Looks like Barker might have done a little bit more damage than I think he realizes this time. Smashes it right off turn number 4 into the wall protection, and that right side is now completely destroyed in that little run that looked like a dominating performance earlier on. Just completely went out the window. What a tough break there for the number 6 of Johnny Barker. Let's take a look at the replay and find out what happened here. Oh, I see that car is loose. He's trying to save it and just smashes it right in there. John LaMonga had the presence of mind. Get out of the way there. Oh, man. All that chances, all that momentum built up. And Johnny Barker looked like the car just could not handle it anymore. And now pit stops now become a very big factor here. Mike Killenbeck is going to stay on out of the whole field of David and John. John LaMonga will keep his pace up, keep his momentum going. Rob Lowell is going to stay on the 4th place spot. He knows if he can just last out a little bit longer here, he has a chance. Rob Lowell knows he's going to have to stay in the field and stay in position here if he wants any chance, especially with only about 23 laps remaining. Killenbeck's not giving him that lap back easily. He knows he'll have to get ahead of him and then hope that Killenbeck does not go in and take only so much fuel and can actually get in and out of there real quick. That's going to be a very tough little spot to throw yourself in for a predicament. Not a single caution today. Killenbeck, though, backs off. He's going to time his pit strategy extremely well here. I like this. Going to brake hard. He brakes hard, but did he get a speeding penalty entering in? That could be a 20-second penalty. He might have to wait out in pit road if he's not careful. John LaMonga will take the race lead away, but still not out of the woods yet. Rob Lowell is coming up through the ranks, coming up through the field. Killenbeck is in pit road now. He's taking right sides. Will he go full lefts as well? And yes, he will. He's going to go full left, full right. He's going to try to hopefully outplay Rob Lowell. Waiting for fuel as Rob Lowell makes a passing by. And John LaMonga is now trying to enter in pit road, but he overshoots the shot. He overshoots the corner, and he ends up into the grass. Oh, Rob Lowell is just getting this race gift wrapped on in a basket for himself. Mike Killenbeck with problems down there. He was too fast entering in pit road. He was too fast, and that's going to cost him dearly. A 26-second speeding penalty is what we're getting right now as a confirmation. Killenbeck's getting out of there, but it's too little too late. He needs help. He needs some help here. John LaMonga is going to slow up down into pit road this time. He lost it into the corner, and that cost him dearly. Rob Lowell now takes the race lead away. Lowell is no stranger to putting in victory lane before. And he's done it just from hard racing. This one will be a little bit of a different circumstance. An absolute wild showbiz moment. Field and in position. You cannot even believe what's happening here. David Lamaga is the last man standing here to have any chance to challenge up Rob Lowe, and really that's not saying much when you're about 7.75 of a second back behind him. That's a lot of time, and that's a lot of positions to have to try to fight and gather up just in that minute span of 18 laps. When you know as well as anything, he went in at the right time with fuel and tire sets. Lowell strategized everything here at Chicagoland. And you can say what you want about the quality of races. You can say what you want about how things kind of played out. But at the end of the day, when you can outspeed, you can outpace, you can outmaneuver drivers, and you know how to handle the best of the best, is there really any argument from there? Is there really anything you can really go from on that one? In my opinion, no. 16 laps left to go here, and I guess also it sounds like even Richmond's not exactly the preferred track right now. That's a darn shame. I was kind of hoping that these next gens would give them a good race out there. I think I've said my piece before about that, but it's like Richmond, I'll be honest with you folks, I wish they would just have turned it back to a half mile. I know it's kind of sacrilegious at this point because it's a 3/4, but I mean at this point, what else you got going on? That track's not really been a very big race run track. It's not a very big like track, I would say, that has been absolutely crazy and kind of frenetic on its racing. I will say there's been some really good Super Late Models races, as late models and street stocks there, but everything else, it's been hit or miss, and most of the time it's usually a miss. And usually the hits are just because of controversy or literally because of something that was formatted by the drivers to do themselves. So so if you are kind of watching that and watching this race right now, I think maybe you guys have a kind of a best of two worlds here. But nevertheless, it's still been an absolute pleasure to call for these guys in the No Name Racing League. Really to see these perform out on a high level basis, on such a strong level basis as well. To me, it just shows these guys have no quit and no give whatsoever, and they will do what they have to in order to survive and conquer. Now David Lamaga right now, looking at times wise, he is gaining about a second on Rob Lowe. I don't know if he really thinks he's going to get a chance to actually steal this one from him, but I think he maybe wanted to go for it. He knows if he burns those tires up a little too much, so it could end up costing him dearly here, so he's going to have to stay under control, a little bit more focused in on what he's about to do. And laps left remaining in this field, in this bunch here. Still anybody's game, anybody's race here. If Lowell makes one mistake you saw earlier, it's pretty easy to do. Donnie Barker getting into that wall protection and lost all his speed, lost all his momentum, and cost him dearly. These next-gen cars aren't exactly just going to give it to you that easily, but it seems like Chicagoland's been pretty generous to these guys. I haven't seen too many spins or too many little flip-arounds here, and it seems like things have been a little bit more controlled. You can tell, though, even though Barker is on the lead lap, the only one out of the bunch here, and currently in third, that damage on that right side really did a number on him and his car, and I guarantee the Route Energy Toyota Camry is none too pleased with this race. And I know he's going to get top 3 if he just hangs on, but I guarantee you that his performance in his mind was not of his nature or his caliber for a multitude of reasons. Hold on just one moment. Hold on a minute down there. Yeah, you're not blinking, don't need to adjust your color set. There's a caution out. And John Lomaga in the 71 may have just completely reversed this one. Rob Lowe had such a commanding lead, and David Lomaga right now has got a chance to steal this one. I don't know what happened here or what went wrong, but we're about to look at the replay, and let's find out together here. David honestly could have been just fine with the points here and been fine with this maybe going second place, but I guarantee you now he's going to want to shoot for the win. John lost it into the turn. There you see the car is spinning out sideways. He's trying to save it. It's just so difficult to save these next gens once you're loose, man. That's exactly one of those reasons right there. But just to show like what's going on down inside the cockpit, let's show you guys exactly what he saw and what he was feeling when it happened. It was just a slight little kick up too. It wasn't much at all. John honestly really at that point was trying to race with whatever he could, and that was not a bad move by any means, but that's a very difficult position to be put into, and that's an even more difficult position to really see the race leader now have to be thrown into in this case. What on earth is about to happen? What will change and what will come through here? I have no idea. All I know is now things just went from level 1 to about level 90 if you're that 21 of Rob Lowe when it comes to having to hammer the throttle down. And for David Lomaga, this now has become a matter of discipline. He needs to get this position, and he needs to get moving here with those tires underneath him. Absolutely wild scenario being presented on full display here on PTM Racing TV. Who will be able to outwit and outsmart the other here? We're about to find out here in just a little bit. I guarantee you though, David's not going to get it easy from Lowe. He's going to have to find a line to hit here. He can try to drive him up into the middle section, into the outside line. He could try to find a little bit more of speed, a little bit more consistency hitting when he needs to, but this is still a very, very difficult little scenario to be thrown on now. We are double filed up for this one. Now the closing laps, closing positions are going to now make things very, very difficult. I do not envy being in anybody's position right now. I know as a driver what it's like, and I know as an individual on the track trying to drive these things, I know how they feel, and I know what they're about to go up against. I don't envy anybody that has to deal with this position. 4 laps to go on this restart. Rob Lowe, David Lomaga all centered away, all stretched out, looking to try and secure the victory. And I think Lomanga may be showing Lowell, I've got some tires underneath me, my friend. You may want to watch out. Rob Lowell is going to need an extremely good hold shot on this restart if he wants any chance to beat out the reigning champ. Off the corner we go. Top 5 on your screen. Top 5 on the track. Shuffle back there a little bit. Eli Raposa having to go back into the infield here with drivers moving their way up ahead of him. Johnny Barker too. We forgot all about him. Now he actually has a chance here to use up a little bit of that speed he might have grabbed on a little later on in the race here. And David Lomarga, as I just mentioned, I was kind of clear, and I was just thinking was probably going to happen. Already putting Rob Lowell in his place, kind of making him think about this one. The G-Stone Motors 21 versus that 34 David Lomarga, and then of course that 6 of Johnny Barker just laying in the wings. Lomarga being very patient. He's not giving him any room. He's putting it right up to his bumper. He's putting it right up to him. He does not want him to. He doesn't want him to think about it. He wants him to sweat about it. Mentally, as a driver right now, you don't look at that mirror. You don't look at anything other than just hearing your spotter call out where he's coming from. And right now, his spotter is yelling up on the top of his lungs. He's on the outside. Lowell drives up a little bit, trying to block the run. Lomarga trying to get that one extra kick, that one extra little foot pedal up to the middle, and he's got it out of turn 2. Johnny Barker, though, way off the corner, into the grassy plains he goes. Jeff Barefoot now looking to try and take over the 3rd place spot, and he does. Successfully completes the pass around Johnny Barker in the number 6 now, as Rob Lowell tries to hang on with just 1 lap to go. Lowell needs some kind of miracle, some kind of speed to build up right back at David Lomarga. Oh, he's going to do it. Yes, he got some run. He got some speed. Can he hang on? He's going to the inside. David Lomarga gets clipped. Rob Lowell does too. They're both dead even in the turn. They're going to go side by side straight to the line. To the finish they come. And it's Rob Lowell pulling off the W here at Chicagoland at a last-minute bump and run entering into turn 3. Unreal. Well, 100 laps to go. I would not have suggested that was going to happen, but hey, racing can be a very, very interesting sport sometimes. And Rob Lowell pops away with the W and a big victory over one in David Lomarga. Sometimes you just gotta put them to the cleaners, and sometimes you just gotta put them on the receiving end. The man out of Benson, Vermont here in that 21, Rob Lowell, pulls off a tremendous victory and a big W for him and his team, and what really best could be described as a fight of nutrition, as well as really just finding any kind of run you can get or any kind of speed you can gather. While we go ahead and let him do his thing here, get set up for some burnouts and to talk with us here. Here is your number 1 driver here, Rob Lowell. That's 21 with the victory. David Lamont gets edged out by a mere 900ths of a second, 96,000th of a second to be exact. Jeff Barefoot will go 3rd, though. Great showing from him. Last out the field, last out Johnny Barker on the final corners. 5th will go to Mike Killenbeck. 6th to Gene Cato. 7th to Wayne Dewey. 8th to Greg Drace. 9th to Eli Raposa. John Lamarga goes 10th. Gary Wright did not race. Wow. That was something here, race fans. And we are now awaiting the arrival of our top 3 drivers here as Lowell decides to tear it down a little bit and decides to go take a little victory lap around here. Alright, well, now joining me right now in the booth here will be your 2nd place finisher here today. Coming away here with a solid performance here will be Mr. David Lomarga. David, congratulations on your 2nd place finisher, sir. And I know that last run there coming off turn number 2 may not have been the most pretty, but I think Lowell in his mind had to do what he had to do to give you that run, didn't he?
Yeah, it is what it is. Sometimes you gotta, you gotta move people to get around them. That's just the nature of NASCAR, man. I mean, if I was in the position, would it have been the same? Most likely, racing is racing.
Racing is definitely racing indeed. It ain't just NASCAR. It's really all around short tracks and everything around here. But I mean, as a driver though, I would presume that knowing you still came away second and knowing that your season is just about ready to kind of end on a high note again, I have to believe you're probably looking towards really stabilizing this one for a big victory, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm just, having fun. Not even really thinking about the whole championship thing. Just kind of, just trying to have fun. And I know, as long as I'm out there just having fun, racing hard, racing clean, that it'll just come. It's all about consistency, especially with only having 13 races in a season. So you just got to be consistent.
For sure there. Well, nevertheless, David, as you come away here second today, I will ask you this, sir. Who do you want to thank you for this one?
I want to thank my wife as always. She's always in the background supporting me. Then, thank all the guys for showing up. Thank everyone who comes out every weekend. This was a fun race today. It was hard. It was very challenging. A lot of guys put up good fights. Barker was really on fire at the beginning of that race. Him and I were going at it at the beginning. So, Barker was he was a little bit of a beast. I don't know what happened to him, but, and then big shout out to Rob Lowell. He's been doing a lot behind the scenes as far as, keeping the league going and all that. Also, I want to be the first to I try to be the first to congratulate Rob after the race, but I think I chose the wrong time because it would come off as me being pissed off. So I should have thought about that a little bit better than to give him a little celebratory little slap. But congratulations to Rob. I know this was his first win. I know he's been working hard and he's been getting so close in so many races. So it's good to see Rob finally snatch a win, and one that he had to really fight for at the end there. At first I thought he was going to take it, but he really put up a fight and did what he had to do and took it. So good race.
He did indeed here.
And thank you to you as always.
I appreciate that as well, David. Whenever so congratulations to you, sir, on your second place finish. Great to hear from you once again, and we'll see you next time out here, bud.
Yeah, thank you very much, Christian.
For sure there. Ladies and gentlemen, David Lomaga popping away with the W here. As you just heard him mention a big congratulations to this man. Rob Lowell now joins me here in Victory Lane. And Rob, my friend, yeah, you've been waiting for this one for a while. We said it earlier, you have been proven to be a race winner before here from multiple seasons, but now this one finally getting it off the list and off the radar, and you put this one to the boot there with David at the end.
Yeah, I thought I was going to give it away at the end there, like I gave away Homestead back. That's the one that haunts me. Homestead had a really fast car, and I put it in the wall with like 15 to go and crinkled the right front fender up, and that one's haunted me. And this one here, I almost gave it away. I got out front there, I had like a 7.5 second lead. I was just riding. And it got down to like 6.5, and I said, well, I'm going to push it real hard here for 5 laps, and I did. Then that yellow came out, and I was like, I want those 5 laps back that I abused the right front. But yeah, we got the restart there, and I got away from Dave a little bit, and then I missed my entry into 3-1 lap, and he got a hell of a run down the front stretch. Got by me. I went to 1 and 2. Just the idea I need to maintain the gap down the backstretch. And I got a hell of a run. And he left the door open. I got my nose in there, and he did what he needed to do, come down, try to close the door, and I wasn't going to let that happen. So I kept my foot in there. We made contact, and I actually listened to hear if he got back in the gas. If he hadn't, I in a league race a couple months ago, a different league race, same situation, and the guy couldn't get back in the gas and raced to the finish. So I jumped out and penalized myself. And I listened here. I heard him go back to the gas. All right, I said, okay, here we go. We're gonna drag race the checkers. So yeah, big weight off my shoulders to finally get one here.
For sure there. No, definitely really was a lot at stake and really a lot on your mind here. I'm going to ask you this, though. When you were going into turn 3, and I know we've heard it before, we've heard it again, the old racing mantra, sometimes you got to move them just to get them out of your way. In this case here, that was probably maybe the only way you were going to be able to get past them. In your mind, did you really just kind of think to yourself, like, just give him the bump and get him out of the way completely? Or were you thinking, well, I kind of lost one at Homestead, so now I need to really take this one so I don't care what happens next?
Absolutely not. I don't race that way. I've been racing in real life. I've been a crew member for the G-Stone Motorsports team for 27 years. And we've raced big block modifieds, small block modifieds, ACT late models, super late models down at New Smyrna Speedway. And back in 2000, we started racing the ACT Tour with Tom Curley. And he was the promoter there. And sat into one of his races one day and he said, listen, if you're not fast enough to pass a man without running into him and touching him, you don't deserve to pass him. You don't deserve a win. If you bump and run, that's nothing but chicken shit racing. So I don't believe in that. And, you know, that was just a case of two guys racing for the win and we got together. There was no, I'm going to move him. Absolutely not. I'd rather wreck myself than move a guy for a win.
Well, you definitely had the right strategy and the right game plan and field in motion, but at the end of the day, like we said, sometimes things just kind of happen that way, and like you said, it wasn't the way you wanted it to go, but it'll still pull you into victory lane. So with that in mind,
Yeah.
sir, go ahead.
Yeah, and Christian, I just want to give a shout out to Johnny Barker there, my teammate. Him and I founded Wolfpack Racing, and we brought Gene Cato in and Greg Drace and Jeff Barefoot's our newest. He's a part-time member of the team because he doesn't race weekly. He got his first top 3 ever today, and I'm real happy for Jeff Barefoot. But Johnny had a hell of a car, and he was fast early in the run. That first run, he got out there, him and Dave. I was running 5th, and I pitted, and I knew I was good on the long run. But Johnny, man, I don't know. Dave and I would have been racing for a win if Johnny hadn't. He got loose coming off that last pit stop and got in the wall and messed his day up. But I think Johnny was the best car here today, and he was fast enough and enough in the run. He could get a second and a half on me. And as you saw before that last pit stop, I got him, but there was only going to be 27, 26 to go after the pit stop. It took me 30 laps to get him on that second run. So I think Johnny Barker easily would have been sitting in victory lane if that hadn't happened.
Definitely going to be an argument made that he was one of the faster guys out here and really putting on a show really throughout this one. But nevertheless, though, Lowell, it is you coming into victory lane and the winner here at Chicagoland. So I'll ask you this, sir. Who do you want to thank you for this?
I want to thank Dave and for helping keep the league going. I want to thank Greg Drace for all the work he did on our previous league and letting us continue the points out here to finish the season. I want to thank my wife. She lets me spend way too many hours in the sim and way too many hours trying to figure out how to finish the season out. I want to thank my car sponsors, G-Stone Motors, G-Stone Commercial, Stone, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. And I want to thank my teammates at Wolfpack Racing. We practice different strategies, different lines, compare, in practice, see which is the fastest. And as you can see, the last, 6-7 weeks in both leagues, we're up front. We're racing for wins, racing for poles, and it's just pure teamwork. 4 or 5 guys pulling together, that makes a difference.
It does make a difference indeed. Only a couple of races left in this season. You'll walk away at least with 1 throughout this entire season. So, Lowell, congratulations on that, and we'll definitely see you next time out here, buddy.
Yeah, thanks. I just want to say that we got a $25 iRacing credit for the driver of the best average finish over the last 4 races here. So this week, last week, and the next 2. So I will shoot you who is leading that category going next week, and you can track that also. They're going to get a little monetary prize for sticking with us and finishing the season.
All right, you guys heard loud and clear there. We'll see who can all pull off to the end, see which one will get that nice little $25 iRacing credit incentive. So, but roll up, thank you again for this one, and man, congratulations on this one. Well earned and deserved.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, here your race winner here today, Rob Lowell here, and the number 21 to round out our field. And race fans, that will do it here for the No Name Racing League. 2 more broadcasts coming your way here tonight, so be sure to stay tuned with us, stay tuned on the track. And until next time, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys soon.